on July the 17th, 1918, we received word that Quentin had been killed behind enemy lines. Quentin's mother and I are very glad that he got to the front and had a chance to render service to his country and show the stuff that was in him before his fate befell him.
You cannot bring up boys as eagles and expect them to turn out as sparrows. Quentin was buried in France.
Where the tree falls, there let it lie.
We spent the rest of the day doing our chores. Thee sat at his desk working, the tears continually fell from his eyes. The next day he had a speaking engagement at the Republican State Convention, and not even grief would postpone it. In the middle of the speech, he set aside his notes and said to a hushed audience,
The finest, the bravest, the best of our young men have sprung eagerly forward to face death for the sake of a high ideal. When these gallant boys on the golden crest of life gladly face death, shall not we who stay behind, who have not been found worthy of the great adventure, try to shape our lives to make this country a better place to live for the women who sent these men to do battle and for the children who are to come after them?
One friend observed that the day Quentin died was the day the little boy died in Theodore. In November of 1918, Theodore was hospitalized for 44 days with inflammatory rheumatism. I moved into a small room next to his, remaining there for his hospital stay. And on Christmas Day, although he was still weak, Theodore was allowed to come home. Alice, Ethel, Archie, and their families were there with us. At home he tried to continue working and wrote a letter to be read at the American Defense Society. It was on a topic he had spoken of frequently, the hyphenated American. On Sunday evening, January 5th, 1919, I sat with Theodore. He was reading and I was playing solitaire. He looked up at me and said,
I wonder if you will ever know how much I love Sagamore Hill.
At about that same time, his letter was being read at the American Defense Society meeting.
The immigrant who comes here in good faith and becomes American should be treated equally. It is an outrage to discriminate because of creed or birthplace or origin. But this is predicated upon the man's becoming in fact an American and nothing but an American. If he tries to keep segregated with men of his own origin and separated from the rest of America, then he isn't doing his part as an American. We have room but for one flag, the American flag. We have room but for one language, the English language. We are a nation, not a hodgepodge of foreign nationalities.
At about midnight, Theodore said to his manservant,
Put out the light, please.
Those were his last words. Archie cabled his brothers. The old lion is dead. Theodore was only 60 years old. He had died quietly in his sleep. He was buried 2 days later in a small cemetery near Sagamore Hill. One of the last people to leave the gravesite was Bill Taft.